We're gonna be safe and sound tonight.
Here we are at Marxists.org and reading the Communist Manifesto, and Marxists constantly aren't in denial about the contents of this book. Let's scroll to the bottom here. It says, of course, in the beginning, this cannot be effected except by means of despotic inroads on the right of property and the conditions of bourgeoisie production. By means of measures, therefore, which appear economically insufficient and untenable. This is his own words. He says that his own policy list is despotic, economically insufficient, and untenable. So, here we have abolition of private property in land and application of all rents of land to public purposes. So that means they steal your land and you pay the government rent. No wonder rural farmers are not fans of Marxism. A heavy progressive or graduated income tax. Wow, I'm sure workers love heavy income taxes, right? Abolition of all rights of inheritance. This includes the home that you live in, obviously. So you will be permanent renters to the government. Confiscation of the property of all immigrants and rebels. So, I mean, you're already getting your property confiscated. I don't know why he has to keep repeating himself. You've had your property stolen by the government 3 times in the first 4 policies. Centralization of credit into the hands of the state by means of a national bank with state capital and an exclusive monopoly. So this is monopoly state capitalism right here. Marx's own words. Monopoly state capitalism. Centralization of the means of communication and transport. So what is this? Is this propaganda, mass censorship, and checkpoints? Military checkpoints? What is that? I mean, I'm not opposed to the national highway system, but I'm still suspicious of all of this state centralization. Extension of factories and instruments of production owned by the state. Now, does this whole thing seem stateless? We were told that Marxism is stateless, and we're told that Marxism is worker ownership of the means of production. Instruments of production owned by the state. Let's say this again. Instruments of production owned by the state. 8 and 9 are kind of boring. Obviously, there will not be an equal liability of work. That's bullshit. There will be a privileged class that is connected to the Vanguard Party. This fascist list of policies is implemented by the Vanguard Party. So, this is just like, this is suburbia right here. Abolition of all the distinction between town and country by a more equitable distribution of the populace over the country. This is mandated suburbia. This is the suburban hellscape that we all find ourselves lost in. Actually has its foundation in Marxism, in the Communist Manifesto. Notice all 10 of these things has been the agenda for the last 100 years. The progressive movements have no new ideas. This is their cult. This is their cult leader. This is their religion. And their religion is total state power. Totalitarian state power. And then, of course, free education or indoctrination for all children in public schools. This is obviously public school and the horrible child abuse and propaganda that comes along with it. So, yeah. Really shocking red fascist list of policies. And what's hilarious is Marxists will deny that this list even exists. You can rub their faces like a dog in their own piss. You can rub their faces in it and they'll still deny that this list exists. Because it goes against everything they've been saying about Marxism for the last 5 years. That it's stateless and that the workers own the means of production. false, 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 false. I mean, what has the last 10 years of news and internet discourse been other than a warning and highlight of the horrible waste and horrible corruption and horrible evils done by the state, done by state monopoly? And every single thing Marx suggests is consolidating power and consolidating money and consolidating control into that same monopoly, giving state capitalism an exclusive monopoly over society, an exclusive monopoly over communication. And what is the entire libertarian ethos can be summarized as decentralization, right? Decentralization. They say it over and over again. Yet look at this policy list: centralization, centralization, monopolization, instruments of production owned by the state. So this is dangerous. This is historically ignorant, economically ignorant. In terms of game theory, it is grossly ignorant. And there's a reason every single Marxist society has been a tyrannical, impoverished hell. Because monopolies don't work. This is Economics 101. Monopolies provide terrible services at very high prices. And a state monopoly, a government monopoly, is even worse than a private sector monopoly, because it has the ability to suppress communications, to have heavy taxation, and to confiscate property. Like, why would you want a totalitarian monopoly that explicitly has those characteristics in their founding documents, in their top 10 things of their top 10 list of things they're going to do, is take away freedom of speech, take away the means of production from the working class, steal your house, steal your farmland, give you a heavy income tax, and create an exclusive monopoly of state capitalism. This is what Marx is saying to you right up front. This is what Marxists by association, by using the term Marxism and calling themselves Marxists, this is the hellish and evil world that they seek to bring into existence. And that in turn makes them hellish and evil, because they're wishing this despotic world into existence. A world which is economically insufficient and untenable, and will necessitate further inroads upon the social order. I mean, this is unbelievable. And to look at this list and to say, yeah, this sounds like a good idea, after all of the horrors of the 20th century, which were brought about by Marxism, which were brought about in large part by Marxism and socialism and the centralization of power into the monopolization of monopoly on violence known as the state. So they just want to keep reliving the nightmare over and over and over again. It's like that Rage Against the Machine song. Just stare and relive the nightmare. That's what the Marxists are trying to do. That's what they're trying to bring into reality every single day of their lives, because they're in a death cult. That's what it is. They want to see bodies. They want to see blood in the streets. They want to see women crying. They want to see women killed. They're not. They are. What's the word I'm looking for here? They're equal opportunity equal opportunities for genders to be killed by Marxists. If you want a glorious alternative to Marxism, just look in the video description. I will post a worker ownership contract for corporations, for companies. And you will see in 2 minutes, it's a 2-minute video, you will see the instructions to create true worker ownership using contract law, using a peaceful and legal route that does not require revolution. It is perfectly legal today. And in order to convert businesses, you may need some kind of mass movement. You may need some kind of protests, things like that. But I think it is a amazing alternative. It is a enlightened alternative to this red fascist, monopolized, central of power bullshit that has been tried again and again, that has failed again and again. And check that video out. You'll learn more. You'll be empowered more after that 2-minute video than you would be after reading 1,000 pages of Marx. Because Marx assumes that the state, that the monopoly on violence, is the only way, the only institution that can bring about good in society, that can be good. Although, no, I don't actually think he believes that, because I think he wants fascism. I think he is a fascist. There's no way you can read this document, read this list, and say, oh, this guy's not a fascist. He is most certainly a fascist. He is a fascist before the word fascism was coined. He is the original fascist. The key to prosperity is institutional independence, is decentralization. The key to freedom is decentralization and putting handcuffs on the state, the monopoly on violence. This is the entire sole purpose of the U.S. Constitution. And compare the U.S. Constitution to this. They are polar opposites. Anyway, I don't want to ramble on too long. Once again, check out that 2-minute video in the video description. And I hope you enjoyed reading some theory with me. And have a nice day. Share this one around to every Marxist you see. Bookmark this video and share it with every Marxist you see. Only then can we de-radicalize the fascists, or at the very least expose them and their plans to the public. Thank you.